Hello Internet, so nice to see you. One of you asked a great question about slash chords, so let's go and read it.
Can you explain slash chords? When to use them and why not? Why are they good for you?
Slash chords are one of the, in my opinion, greatest invention, of music notation, because they allow you to write complex things in a very compact notation that it's easy to play, and easy to understand. So how do they work? Essentially, you have a slash, that's why they're called slash chords, and they're gonna have one name on the left and one name on the right, meaning one name like a note or something like that. So for instance, you can have something like C slash E. Now, those two things are not the same thing. That's the key to understand slash chords. The first symbol is a chord, which could be major, minor, diminished, augmented, seventh, whatever, any chord. But it's important that this is a chord. While the second symbol, it's not a chord, it's just a single note. This is the most important thing. If you go away from this video with one thing, that's the thing, On the left is a chord, on the right it's a note. Now, how do you play? You play this chord here, but you make sure you play this note here below all the others, or if you want, this is your bass note. Now this note can be in this chord or not. In this case it is, because C major it's C, E, G, and so E is one of the notes of C major, But it doesn't have to. It could be a note outside of the chord. The important thing is that this is a note, and it is your bass note, That's the bass note, the lowest note you play. The lowest note you play changes the whole sound of the chord, Because if I play a C major chord, it's this. Bass of C, normal C major chord. But if I play a C with a bass of E, this is called C slash E or C with a bass of E, if you want to go with the long form. That's how it sounds. It's still a C chord. Or I can use an even lower E. It's still a C chord in this case because the E is inside the C, but it sounds in a different way. It's an inversion of the C chord, I don't want to go deep in inversions right now, but the idea is that essentially the simple way is you play this chord and this one should be the lowest note, whether it's in the chord or not. Now, at this point, it depends where you are. Because at this point it's different if you are playing by yourself or if you're playing with a band, If you're playing by yourself, you have to do everything yourself. So you need to play the chord and the bass note and make sure you play that bass note, otherwise it doesn't sound right, Let me take a different example than this, because, that's a pretty tame, slash chord, but they could be more interesting than that, One interesting one, for instance, is having, something like G with a bass of A. Now the A, again, that's a G major chord, that's an A note only. The A note is not in G, but this kind of chord sounds great. It's a chord result in fusion, and it typically move it by a couple of frets. You've heard these sounds. Now, the thing is, if I had to spell this chord using the standard notation, meaning the usual chord notation, you'll have to think that that's an A chord, because the bass it's an A. The notes in this chord are A, G, B, D, meaning this is the G chord, and the A is the bass. And so this is an A7, because G is the 7. Actually, that's the 7, that's the 9, that's the 4th or 11th. You call these either an A9 sus4, or sometimes you just call these an A11th, depending on who you ask. Makes sense? So, that, and if there are also other more complex chords, if you want to play a G minor with a bass of A, This would be an A11 with a flat 9 or an A7 flat 9 suspended 4. You see that the name becomes longer, it will sound this way. It's a very unsettling chord, okay? It's not resolved, okay? So writing them in slash form makes it easier for you, okay? So if you're alone, again, you have to play both of them. You have to play the chord and the bass. And so it pays to have a thorough knowledge of the fretboard. To get this kind of knowledge of the fretboard, I would recommend one of my courses is called Complete Chord Mastery, and in just the first few sessions we go through how to get all the triads around the fretboard, and okay, and so when you start doing the slash chord, it becomes super easy to do, okay? And you can check this course on the link on the top right. If instead you are playing in a band, and with this I mean any kind of ensemble where there is a bass instrument. It could be a bass, okay? Like in a standard band, you have a bass. But it could also be a piano player, okay, that is playing those low octaves. Piano players do that all the time. They hog all the low frequencies every single time. So in this case, you don't really want to be there playing. You let them play the bass, okay? Or it could be other ensemble, okay? You never know. I mean, sometimes you're gonna play with a marching band and they have the tuba, okay? Whatever. As long as they have a bass instrument, what do? You play the chord, but you don't play bass. You let the bass player, or the piano player, the tuba player, whatever, playing the bass note. You just play the top chord, okay? And for good measure, play it high, okay? So don't play the G this way, too many notes. Just play the top 3 strings maybe, or maybe go even higher, okay? So that you stay as high and far away as possible from the bass, because it sounds better. Other instruments, believe me, other instruments will fill up the gaps. They do. That's what they do by default, okay? Especially piano players. They will fill up all the gaps, okay? You just play high. Makes sense? So it depends where you are. If you are by yourself, play both sides. If you're in a band, ignore what comes after the slash. Play the chord and play it high. And again, this simplifies a lot, right? Because let's say the typical situation is, I don't know, you are filling up for a guitar player in a jazz band or stuff like that. Thing that actually happened in the business. Okay, they call you, hey, we have this show in 3 days, and we have 4 hours of repertoire. Actually happened. Okay, and so what do? You can rehearse with them, sure, but at the end of the day, you are reading from the chord chart. Okay, so. And some songs are full of slash chords. You just ignore the second part, play the top part. They have a bass player, they have a piano player, they have a number of people playing in the bass part. You can safely ignore that. They will actually thank you for that, because you're not hogging their frequencies. Okay, you're not there playing over their bass, which sounds horrible. Okay, you're playing in a different area of the frequencies. You're gonna play only high frequencies. Makes sense? So that will be the idea. Okay, now how do you use them? Well, that's the thing. You can put any chord and any note, okay? Some of them will sound great and some of them will not, as usual, because it depends on the combination. But again, in principle, there is no rule against anything here, okay? If you are getting started with those, I would recommend to pick a specific key, like C major, and try the triads and using the other notes of the key as bass, okay? So you have C major, C with a bass of C, which is just C, C with a bass of D, C with a bass of E, C with a bass of F, C with a bass of G, C with a bass of A, C with a bass of B. Some of them will sound great. Some other will sound meh, okay? So one of my favorite slash chords, the one I really like, and again, that's completely subjective, okay? Absolutely, completely subjective. But the slash chord I like is when between the bass and the top chord, there is an interval, in the root of the top chord, there is an interval of a fifth. Okay, so G is a fifth above C. Makes sense? So if I go from here to here, I have a fifth. Possibly a perfect fifth. Okay? Why? I just like those. Okay. G with a bass of C. It's just a great chord, okay? D minor with a bass, sorry, A minor with a bass of D, it's a great chord too. And I can go on and on and down and do all the other ones essentially, okay? They just sound good to me. Especially again if the interval is a perfect fifth, okay? And I'm not the only one who likes them. If you ever heard the band Steely Dan, they use this chord all the time. Okay, you're gonna hear it, okay? G with a bass of C. Again, the interval is a fifth. From the bass to the root of the chord, the interval is a perfect fifth. And this chord can be major or minor, okay? Or it could be a seventh or something else, or even I'm going to do diminished, but major and minor tend to sound better. Those are very sparkly chord, okay? Because once you align the bass and a triad, major and minor, a fifth above, all the harmonics in the bass align with the harmonics of the top three notes. Again, I don't want to do all the mathematics here, but let's say all the harmonic align and they give this kind of sparkly and nice sound. So that's a little trick that you can use, okay, for slash chord. But again, those are the ones I like and I use for specific harmonization. But really, there are no rules. You can put any note and any chord and stack them however you want. And that's what there is to know about slash chord. Of course, there's more than that, okay? That's what there is to know to get started, but there's way more than that, and I cover all those slash chords and other things in my course, Complete Chord Mastery. Check it out on the top right. And we cover them directly on the fretboard so you can play them too, okay? Now, if you like this video and if you like this trick, smash on that like button, subscribe, and don't forget to click on notification. Guys, remember to click on notification because if you don't, YouTube will never send you any alert when I put up a new video. Then why are you even subscribed, okay? And then, if you have any questions, different questions that you wanna get answered, comments about these, or you wanna share your own favorite slash chords, write them down in the comment. I enjoy reading from you. I enjoy answering your questions. I just enjoy being here with you guys. That's the thing. Okay, this is Tommaso Zillia of musictheoryforguitar.com. And until next time, enjoy.